South to Miami with Janie Smith right now. Janie, hey. Hey there, CEO
Hey, hello.
of Smart Advantage. And you're also the author of Creating Competitive Advantage and Relevant Selling. So congratulations on your book. And we're talking today about tips to make your seasonal business stand out. Can you maybe just go over what some of the seasonal businesses that you talk about are? I mean, I know the hotel industry in certain areas, but what kind of seasonal businesses are we talking about?
Sure. There are all kinds, everything from party planning because of weddings a certain time of the year to lawn care. And in the South here in Miami, we have the snowbirds here having demands that we don't have all year round. So there's lots of seasonal businesses that really need some help in what to do in the off seasons.
Right. Okay, and some popular seasonal businesses, AC repair servicing, pool services, lawn services, definitely. So how do you make your business stand out?
Well, one of the things I try to tell businesses all the time, and Relevant Selling talks about it, is be relevant. Be relevant to who you're selling to all the time, not just in season. But I'll give you an example. One that personally I was shopping for patio furniture and went to Home Depot a couple of years ago only to learn that they don't sell patio furniture in the summer in Florida. They only sell it in the winter, and we kind of have that all year round here.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. It wasn't being very relevant to me. And you know, even takes the mom and pop lawn care. I mean, those folks have more business when the snowbirds are down here, and the same up north when there's no lawn, there's no business. So what they need to do is be educating their customers and being more relevant is what should they do with their lawns and their plants in the off season, how to care for them, how to prepare them for the next season. But if you're just mowing lawns, then we can get the 16-year-old up the block. You know, it's really how can you add more value?
Gotcha. And in terms of adding more value in the off season to spur business, should businesses out there cut price? What would you say to that?
No, I'm a firm believer in not cutting price. My book, Relevant Selling, says it's not about price. If companies are relevant, and I got to tell you, Lauren, we've done studies of over 100 companies in all kinds of industries, and the study matched what the customers' preferences were to what the companies thought they were, and 95% of the businesses did not know the top buying criteria for their customers. So they're not being relevant, and they're not really selling. If you're relevant, you don't have to lower your price. And that's what we try desperately to communicate to businesses. Be more relevant. Give them what they need when they need it, not based on what you think they want.
Yeah, and a lot of people come on the show saying that. Don't be, don't cut your price as a way to bring in the customers. Have the right business model in place first. So speaking of business models, can you give us some do's and don'ts of how to get that competitive advantage?
Yes, do be relevant and do not talk in vagaries. I mean, I've asked thousands, I mean literally thousands of CEOs and salespeople, what's your number one competitive advantage? And I get vague answers. Quality, customer service, good people, knowledgeable, consistent. Those are strengths that are required.
I know.
It is. They're cliched. We exceed your expectations. Oh, come on. What does that mean? And then the self-declared on every website, we're the leader in the industry. 10 people in the same industry say the same thing. So it doesn't mean anything. Be specific. Talk about your past performance. Don't make promises. That's another big don't. Don't say we will deliver in 24 hours or we will be there on time. That's a promise. Nobody believes promises. Talk about your track record. Last year, at a 95% of our calls, we showed up within 2 hours of the emergency or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's
past performance.
Kind of like the way you do a resume. I remember when I was doing my first resume years ago, advisors always said be very specific in what you've done. You've done this for so many years and your rate of improvement is this. So it's the details that people like. And I got to tell you, Janie, here we look up companies all the time and businesses and people from certain agencies that are going to speak on our shows. And I sometimes research where they're coming from, and I don't even get half the time what type of business or group it is because it's so vague, the description.
Right.
So you speaking just made me think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to say in business, past performance is the best indicator of future performance, unlike a mutual fund. You've got to be talking about what you've done.
Yeah. Janie, thank you so much. And I have to say, where you are standing out there in Miami looks beautiful. So do you want to tell us anything about your book, Creating Competitive Advantage?
Yes, Creating Competitive Advantages is a bestseller. It's been out for 6 years, continues to help businesses truly differentiate themselves and get them out of the myths about what they think their competitive advantages are. And Relevant Selling, the sequel, the first book tells you how to identify competitive advantages. The second one tells you find out which ones are relevant. Don't just throw them at the wall. Find out which ones the customer cares about. 95% of the businesses are getting it wrong. And I think we could move out of the recession if they got this right.
Can you give us, off the top of your head, a good example of a business that you've witnessed do it right and or wrong?
Sure. I mean, one of my favorite examples is a commercial real estate company in New Jersey. They have 200 buildings, and they went through this process. And when we came back with the customers' research, finding out what tenants in their buildings and tenants in other buildings wanted, again, not one person on the executive team guessed the top criteria. We see this in tens and tens and tens of businesses in these studies. And the top thing was security. They didn't know that. They weren't selling that. And when they got on top of that, their occupancy rates were 90+%. The renewal rates were 88 to 90%. When you are relevant, you deliver what they want, and you sell what they want, it doesn't matter what the price is, because people will pay for value, but too few companies really know how to find what that value is.
Right.
And I'm a big proponent on double-blind research. Get the unbiased truth. They're not going to tell you the truth.
Janie Smith, thank you so much for coming on, the CEO of Smart Advantage.